Welcome, everyone. It is your Saturday, February 25th. Welcome in. Let's see what shakes up. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. And for those of you that are considering tuning in, I really appreciate it. And once again, it is your Saturday, and I just want to open up with just a little bit of commentary, if I might. Just a little bit. So, we're going to be talking about food stamps today. And normally I can't really shellac that very much and just say, we're going to be talking a little bit about food stamps and this generation. Believe it or not, they are very aware of subsidies and entitlements. Entitlement with entitlement attitudes. So and they've gone through the veins of, like I say, they've gone through the veins of our institutions, and they've reached a lot of people in that. Let's just say the least. We're going to be talking about that entitlement, and not only that, we'll be talking about food stamps. We'll talk about even income tax. I want to even say how aware they are even of income tax. This particular generation is highly aware of government kickbacks or government or returns. I mean, but it's in a way that it's in a kind of a snarky and kind of a nasty kind of a way, conscious level there. I just want to put that out there. But before we get into it, let's go ahead and check your status. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we're going to say a warm hello to everybody on Twitch as well. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. I really appreciate it. So we're going to get going here. Let's give a shout out to our friends over on Twitch. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. So yes, thank you guys so much. And just one more little commercial and we'll be right back. This show is brought to you in part by our sponsors. Whether you're interested in health, right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you guys. So let's get started, shall we? And I opened this up talking about We're going to talk about a few lines today. There's so many lines, but I'm going to try to keep them. I'm a little bit backdating a little bit, but I'm also going to reach a few lines that I've stumbled across. The food stamps and the effect on, dare I say, our Congress pulling back the funding from the previous, roughly 3 years. Also, we have a story on the juvenile with an Alfa Romero 1.5. That attack, the 2A situation is to me brewing up. Also, the Walmart closings, and we'll be dealing with zero draft. So, yeah, let's get going, shall we? I hope you guys are doing well out there. But just let me start with a little bit of commentary first. And it's because this particular generation seems to be quite aware of government subsidies, government, the entitlement programs, should I say, or nutritional supplement programs, you name it. They're also very aware of income tax. So it's kind of like the almighty Big Brother and some of these. They have created a monster within a monster, and it's at a level of it's at a level of familial cannibalism. And I'm making up. I'm wordsmithing real hot off the press this today. So I'm telling you, like, it's like a familial cannibalism that the kids actually approach the family about income tax. And when is that money going to be received? Not only that, but I do think that the pandemic also contributed to this type of awareness. You've got things that are behind and not quite. The concepts of other things went by the wayside, but the level on entitlements, the awareness of entitlement programs and subsidy programs, courtesy of the government, seem to go up. So with that said, I want to use that as a segue to get us into today's first liner. And I hope you guys are doing well out there. If you are around, I want to thank you so much. We're going to talk food a little bit today. We're going to talk food. The UK wants to bring back food rationing to combat the CC. Okay, we're going to talk about that, as well as we're going to be discussing the effects of, the food stamp programs being spoiling the grocery store outlooks, e.g. Walmart. That comes out of the Wall Street Journal. So we'll go there first. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I want to say hello to Melinda. Hope you're doing well out there, Melinda. So let's go ahead. Let's start here with let's go ahead with those food stamps spoiling it for chain stores, as I paraphrase there. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Shout out to Derek C. Williams. You guys haven't gotten over to Derek C. Williams' page, I don't know what you're waiting on. But Derek is always, he is the prolific Derek C. Williams, and he is unapologetically Derek, and I admire him for that. And I always tell him to keep inspiring, because he inspires on many. He inspires top down, or however you want to get it. If you want to get it from down, whatever, however the release happens, you'll be thankful for that. Okay. So to make sure I give you guys full scale on this, thank you so much for tuning in. So yes, please get over to Derek C. Williams, because he's released a lot of great content, a lot of great commentary. You can't beat it. Okay, so what we have here is food stamps are about to spoil grocery stores. The end of enhanced food stamp benefits could hurt sales at chains like Walmart. And we are going to be following this up, by the way, with the closing of Walmart stores at that. Okay, so don't worry. We'll get to that as well. All right, so the fading food stamp benefit could suddenly sensitize a large block of consumers to higher grocery prices. Okay. Enriched pandemic-era food stamps made a big mark on supermarket sales in the past 3 years. Those extra benefits are soon coming to an end, possibly spoiling supermarkets' outlook for the year. the federal government started beefing up households' food budgets starting March 2020 to address food insecurity during the CV-19 demic. Over the last 3 calendar years, that added up to about $98 billion of extra assistance known as emergency allotments, on top of regular food stamps issued through the Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program, or SNAP, according to HSA Consulting, a retail industry research firm. Those boosts made food stamps an important component of food sales. In 2022, the SNAP benefits, including the emergency allotments, made up 12.3% of total at-home U.S. food and beverage retail sales, up from 7.1% in 2019, according to the HSA Consulting. So, I would imagine that you guys may know some people that have been affected by, of course, the demic, or, yeah, sure you do, but most of us, we kind of get out here and do things. We have a way of doing things a little bit independently of that. But I'm sure you've heard of those who, who's taken up on this particular entitlement, or they've actually remained involved with these types of programs, or they keep these programs in circulation. Sometimes these programs are quite generational. So just want to say I got a little bit behind on that one. So give me just a second here, guys. I really appreciate you guys for being here. So I'm going to finish this up over on this, and I'll leave it there. Okay. All right. So, So I was thinking that we would be able to circumvent a little bit, but yeah. So if you want to, of course, the Wall Street Journal that's you've got to do your subscriptions. Okay. So I apologize for that. So it's going to move us right along here. All right. So now what I want to do is go over to the actual closings, the purported closings. Hello, Marty Lauderdale. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you for supporting the channel. I really do. Thank you so much. So we're going to go in next. We're going to have a look at our actual Walmart closings that I mentioned the other day. There's a list, and of course they will mention some of the actual states in those listings. Okay, so let's go. I'll be sharing this with you, and of course this is coming from the lovely MSNBC. I will be putting that up here. It says Walmart is closing a batch of stores in 2023. Here's the full list. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. Appreciate you guys so much for coming in. We'll do a little switcheroo here really quickly. I appreciate your patience. And if you'll just hang tight here, just 1 minute. Thank you so much. So we are back. So here I'm bringing you an actual aligner that Walmart will close 7 stores in 5 states: Illinois, Wisconsin, New Mexico, Oregon, and Florida. Okay. And then, of course, the company is also winding down its 2 remaining pickup locations in Illinois and Arkansas. Each year, the company typically closes a handful of stores it considers to be underperforming. Walmart will close 7 retail locations across the U.S. this year, citing poor financial performance at each. The recent closures follow a trend of Walmart closing a handful of stores across various states each year, with the company saying that the stores are underperforming, quote, end quote, without providing specifics. In addition, the retail giant is ending its 9-year experiment with 2 pickup only locations in Illinois and Arkansas. Here are the latest store closings. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I'm going to be giving you these latest store closings. Now, don't quote me how soon they're going to close. I'll just give it to you as clearly as I can. Okay, so you have Arkansas. They've even got the address. I won't give you the address. You guys can pick it up for yourself. If you're in Florida, you have, let's see, there's only 5. Well, I guess I can do that. So if you're in Arkansas, 3701 Southeast Dodson Road, Bentonville, pickup only concept. And in Florida, 6900 US Highway 19 North, is it Pinellas Park or Pinellas Park neighborhood market concept. Illinois, 17550 South Halstead Street, Homewood, and then the 12690 South Route 59 Plainfield, and then also 840 North McCormick Boulevard, Lincolnwood, the pickup only concept. And over to New Mexico, 301 San Mateo Boulevard, Southeast Albuquerque. Oregon, 4282nd Avenue, Southeast Portland. 1123rd North Hayden Meadows Drive, Portland. And finally, Wisconsin, 10330 West Silver Spring Drive in Milwaukee. Okay, so those are yours. But then, of course, they dropped in a lovely news poll. Did this wave of closures impact your local Walmart location? So if you want to chime in on that, you could do so. Of course, that's your friends over at MSN.com. Okay, so let's just see who's in the chat here. Thank you guys so much for taking the time. I really do appreciate it. All right. So you said where in New Mexico? Let me respond. Yes, Melinda. The New Mexico location is 301 San Mateo Boulevard, Southeast Albuquerque. That is the location there. I didn't mean to blast through those so much. And this is Marty Lauderdale says, okay, back to feeding Dogo. Lol. I always love the conversation with you, good Peak. Nice to see you. Melinda says the last cost of living increase was a joke. Car insurance is taking it all plus some. Disgusting, isn't it? Yes, I will say so. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to keep going here. Kind of firing them off here. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to go to our next liner. Now let's go back to that zero. Let's see if we can get through the zero draft really quick. This was a little bit meaty. A little bit meaty. Okay. All righty. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this segment of Black Spray with Autumn, and I will be taking you to another liner in which we've talked a little bit about earlier this week, at which this current administration, the Biden administration, is going to negotiate the deal with the WHO, hence the term zero draft. Okay, it says the Biden administration negotiates deal to give the WHO authority over U.S. pandemic policies. This is new international health accord avoids necessary Senate approval. So we've got the circumvention, under the EUA, emergency use authorization. Or is it still an emergency going on? I'm just saying. Okay, according to this, under the news analysis here, the Biden administration is prepared to sign up the United States to a, quote, legally binding, end quote, accord with the WHO that would give the Geneva-based United Nations Health Agency the authority to dictate America's policies during another pandemic. Despite widespread criticism of the WHO's response to the CV-19 pandemic, the U.S. Health and Human Services Secretary Javier Becerra joined with the WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus in September 2022 to announce, quote, the U.S. WHO strategic dialogue, end quote. Together, they developed a, quote, platform to maximize the longstanding U.S. WHO partnership and to protect and promote the health of all people around the globe, including the American people, end quote. These discussions and others spawned the, quote, zero draft of a pandemic treaty published on February 1st, which now seeks ratification by all 194 WHO member states. A meeting of the WHO's intergovernmental negotiating body is scheduled for February 27th to work out the final terms, which members will then sign. So, you guys, I think we had this came up a couple of years ago, that they had that same kind of date kind of etched out. But for whatever, a lot of the nations pulled out, and a lot of these prime ministers from some of these other smaller countries ended up, let's think about it. And I'm just saying, they happen to be some of these other nations that said, "Hey, look, we're going to handle this on a more therapeutic, on a more homeopathic, with what God gave us." And I think some of those people were kind of maybe a little bit incognito right now. Okay, so let's keep going here. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. All right, so we'll continue here. These discussions and others. Let's see. Okay, we're on to the written under the banner of the, quote, World Together Equitability, end quote. The zero draft grants the WHO the power to declare and manage a global pandemic emergency. Once a health emergency is declared, all signatories, including the United States, would submit to the authority of the WHO regarding treatments, government regulations such as lockdowns and mocktail mandates, global supply chains, and monitoring and the surveillance of populations. So here we go. We're into another little pickle here. But you know what? I want to say this. This is, to me, not quite. Is it really that much different than the Paris Accord? Now, for those of you, whether you had the PDF on that or whether you were able to comb through that to get to where we are, whether you're able to comb through that particular document, to me, this sounds more like an accord, more of a, I'm thinking that it's very similar to that. It's more like similar to an accord that we've seen before, like centralizing a centralized economy, centralizing emergency, centralizing environmental. I'm just saying, I'm going to put the pendulum out just for a bit. If that's okay, you'll have to jump on the pendulum. I'm just giving you an opportunity. I like to give opportunities around here. So there'll always be opportunities. Okay. That's I think that's a positive, what do you want to call it? An affirmation. Yeah, well, it's and check the vibrational. There's opportunities, but just make sure it's a good vibration there. Okay, so you have a people's pendulum out there if you're interested in tagging on. But see, a lot of these, I think, let's just talk just a second, editorials and print and, headlines, like everybody's getting this whole, the paper reader articles. And, I imagine it has its place because of the technology. But I don't think people are actually selling papers anymore. So it says, try Honest News, $1 for 2 months. So let's look really quickly here. Let's see if we can go away from that for a second. So you do have a PDF, the zero draft of the WHO CA Plus for consideration of intergovernmental negotiating body at its 4th meeting. Okay. So that's February 27th, right? It seems like they keep that date kind of stationary. That seems to be like a stationary kind of a date that doesn't quite change. Like I said, it seems like it was the same thing. It fell apart the last time. So it looks like we're a little stuck here. Okay, so I'm going to take us out of that. But it just seems like we're just kind of in a little bit of impending spiral of loss of For a long time, if you go back into the history of this country, that means the U.S. or America, that for a long time, and even in this current administration, Biden used to always ask about what kind of country, who we are, and what kind of country are we going to be. Well, we're certainly this is the worst identity crisis I think we've ever had, to date. I think the worst identity crisis ever in the history, because we are just things are just being handed off, and I'm gonna say thank you to everybody that has supported this channel, but I also want to thank you for I never got to a point in which I'm selling t-shirts and t-shirts on a kind of a red and blue left right paradigm kind of. I'm kind of glad I never reached that point, and not that I ever that was my intent, but yes, I just think that identity wise, we are who somebody else says that we are, more so than anything. We're not, we're not, the autonomy is going away, and it's being squelched, choked off. Let me just read the comment here. Thank you so much. Melinda says, nothing like that at all. WHO will have total control of all the people in all the countries of the world. I have read what they have put out so far, and nothing that I have read is any good. Well, it's like they were itching to do this. They were itching to do this anyway. This is very apropos that they're doing this. So yeah, very, very apropos that this has come up in this manner. So yeah, but everything will be centralized, and kind of like we're coming more like a union, like European Union. If somebody in Geneva is making the decisions, and we have an entire, what do we have a Congress for? What, you see what I'm saying? Like, if you keep dumping, like you keep pouring a whole lot of energy into these elections, general elections and midterms, and then by the way, if anything goes wrong, those people over there in Geneva, they'll handle it. So why are the American people paying salaries to House representatives and Congress and then for that matter, the executive level? What is that about? If we need to be told how to manage something, we can't even manage emergencies. We can't even handle risk. We can't even deal with risk management. I'm just saying, like, the people, it's totally out of your hand. To me, it's very much like we need to in order for us to be heard, we've got to speak through other people. I don't know if that's actually freedom or independence. I don't know if I see that way. We can't speak directly to the GOV. We have to have other people to represent. So to me, that sounds almost kind of like a confessional or something to me. But we're not, but we go through a voting process to put those people in those behind those screens. Just saying, just thinking out loud there. Like, nobody comes to independence or freedom unless they go through the one-armed bandit, right? No, excuse me, unless we go through the World Health Organization or our Geneva-based institution that you guys voted for will handle it. Okay, so I'm going to move us on to something else. There's a nice little tidbit there. One to watch without a doubt. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're going to go over to a story from the UK that deals with the UK wanting to bring back food rationing to combat CC. See, this is the next demic. Okay, I do believe, and we've heard that before, that even another LD would be under the auspices of the CC. Okay. All right. So the UK wants to bring back food rationing to combat CC. All right. The next stage is coming. Ban log fires to keep us cold, ban cars to keep us imprisoned, digitalize banks to take our money, and now starvation rations. Okay. So this comes from investmentwatchblog.com. Thank you so much. All right. So in this, you have Nigel Farage. Academics propose the rationing to combat CC. Flights, meat, petrol, and even clothing should have a non-transferable token tracked by a, quote, carbon card instead of a bank card. Worst part is these crackpot ideas will soon become mainstream, okay? So that's the times.co.uk. How to fix the global warming, right? Bring back rationing. Second World War style rationing of petrol, household energy, and meat could help fight climate change. British scientists have said, okay, so they've chimed in. The science has spoken. Don't you dare challenge it. So I don't know, guys. You think that looks a lot like the WEF, right? It looks like it's kind of in alignment with that. Let's see what my friends have to say over here. Let's see. Belinda says the Gates Foundation and Soros Moniz are behind the WHO. None of these people are elected by any of us. Absolutely not. Okay. And Melinda says just another form of genocide. Yeah, that's it's interesting that they want to, that's what they. I'm not surprised. Okay, I'm not. I'm just, for the sake of argument, I'm really not surprised. Okay, we have just a couple. We have a couple more here. Now we do have something on your. See, to me, this is somewhere. This stream is almost somewhere around emergency, around awareness right now. Saturday awareness. Okay, so now we're going to go over to attacks on the U.S. power grid are surging. So let's go there, shall we? I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. I don't know how you guys are preparing, but but it's kind of, I think we've only got one more. We've got the main layer. Okay, so let's go ahead and go over to the attacks on the U.S. power grid are surging. Okay, so this is out of Yahoo Finance or finance.yahoo. Okay. The number of attacks with gunfire or vandalism on the U.S. power grid infrastructure surged last year and is likely to continue rising this year, too. A confidential analysis seen by the Wall Street Journal has shown last year the number of physical attacks, including intrusion, vandalism, and gunfire, jumped by 71% from 2021, according to the Electricity Information Sharing and Analysis Center, or EISAC, a division of North American Electric Reliability Corporation. The number of attacks on power grid infrastructure soared last year due to a series of clustered physical attacks in the Southeast, Midwest, Pacific Northwest, per the report seen by the Journal. Manny Cancel, the chief executive of the division that has compiled the report, told the WSJ, there seems to be a pattern where people are targeting critical infrastructure, probably with the intent to disrupt. Since 2020, the presidential election that year, the EISAC division has seen a surge in the number of physical attacks on the U.S. power grid infrastructure, Cancel said, but declined to discuss the confidential report. In one of the most notorious and most recent attacks, a North Carolina power grid was vandalized in December, leaving 45,000 people in Moore County without power after 2 substations of Duke Energy were attacked by gunfire. Moore County Sheriff Ronnie Fields said someone pulled up and, quote, opened fire on the substation. The same thing with the other one, end quote, with the motive of the attacks unclear. Last year, the Department of Homeland Security warned that domestic terrorists had developed, quote, credible specific plans, end quote, to attack the U.S. power grid and view it as a, quote, particularly attractive target given its interdependency on other infrastructure sectors. Earlier this month, federal authorities arrested and charged a neo-Nazi man and a woman from Maryland for plotting to attack Baltimore area electrical substations. Brandon Russell, 27, and Sarah Beth Clendaniel, 34, conspired to attack the substations and take out power to parts of the city in what prosecutors said was intended to be, quote, furtherance of Russell's racially or ethnically motivated extremist beliefs. All right, so that came in to you from Penman or pen name Michael Kern for oilprice.com. So, yeah, I've talked about this all the time. 411 informationals. I mean, or even if it's a BS, a backstage kind of a conversation, I think we should have on some of this. But yes. I did have one other piece. Okay, I do have a story on we're going to call it the Alfa Romero on here. We have a juvenile AR. Yikes, I just said it. We have a juvenile Alfa Romero 15 story. All right, I got to do better. Okay, I'm going to pull that out for you. And then we are going to wrap up the topics at least. Now, the commentary might continue. However, I have released a pendulum for you guys who would like to engage otherwise. Okay, so thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, hang on just a second. Okay, so according to this is abcnews.go.com. The juvenile arrested with the AR-15 at high school basketball game. It is unclear what connection he had to the school or why he carried an AR-15. This particular weapon is always it's in full rotation, right? So let's go ahead and play this clip. Okay, so there you have a report from this high school district. So let's go back in there. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you guys as always. So yeah, this is a male juvenile suspect that has been arrested at a high school basketball game after he was found carrying an Alfa Romero 15, police said. The incident occurred at approximately 8:40 p.m. when the police in Raleigh, North Carolina, said they responded to a call of a person with a stick at Millbrook High School as a basketball game was underway. Quote, through investigative means and with the assistance of the Wake County Sheriff's Office and Wake County Public School Security, the male juvenile suspect was located with an Alfa Romero 15 in his possession and immediately taken into custody. I read a press release from the Raleigh Police Department following the arrest. The juvenile suspect is not a student at Millbrook High School, authorities said. It is unclear what connection he had to the school or why he was carrying an Alfa Romero 15. Authorities say that the juvenile petitions and a secure custody order are currently being pursued in regards to this case. Quote, the Raleigh Police Department works closely with the Wake County Public Schools to ensure the safety of students and staff every day, end quote, the police said. An extra police presence will be on hand at Millbrook High School on Friday, authorities confirmed. An investigation into the case is currently ongoing, and the police said they will release additional information on this incident at an at an appropriate time. See, my issue is this is just like kind of like is this a cameo or an Alfa Romeo 1.5 cameo? And then what are you going to do? What are you going to throw some more? You're going to put more petitions and more orders on. And what's that? I mean, I'm just saying, is that the actual solution? Is that a solution to, I don't know what to make of some of these stories. You know what I'm saying? I almost wanted to call this. Is this a revamp of a pseudo Rittenhouse revamp, or you know what I mean? It's looking a little stagey, a little metaphysical, or something's going on. Just saying. Just saying. And I want to say thank you guys so much for burning a whopping 41 minutes and 48 seconds now here on Black Spring. I really appreciate it. Let's see. Do we have any friends over on the Twitch? Yes, we do. Hello to my friends over on Twitch. Okay, and I have a comment from Melinda. Melinda says, Marty, never in my life have I ever seen so many overweight guys, except on YouTube, Hard Attack City. Yeah, but you know what, Marty? I mean, Melinda and Marty, I would apply that same sentiment to the amount of the nurses that I've seen. Like, the nurse is the absolute antithesis of health. She's not exactly the picture of health. But yeah, she's administering, mocktails and whatever else, whatever else they might want to give you. So that's what's happening there. So yeah, I appreciate it. And let's see, I want to thank you guys so much again. Let's give another shout out to our friends over at Twitch. And thank you guys. I'll go ahead and say thank you guys for tuning in on your Saturday with Black Spring. I really appreciate it. I was going to take you guys into a different zone. We still might do that, but I just wanted to get some of these reports out. I think I got just about everything that I intended to do, but the SPARS, the SPARS, I'm still working on that, the approach to that, because like I said, it's a bit of a monster of a document. And I just want to be able to pull out some things, pull out some key things. But even at 896 pages, I need a little bit of time to kind of go through it. Okay. So I want to say hello and thank you again to Melinda, as well as Marty Lauderdale. And I'm not sure who else is hanging out with us if you're over on Twitch. Thank you so much. So just 1 minute. We'll have a quick little breaky here, a quick little announcement here. We'll be right back. Thank you guys so much. And so, yeah, I think that's going to wrap us up out there. I appreciate you guys so much for all that you do. And like I said, if you can think about watering somebody's garden, do it as you wish. Okay. Yes, I appreciate you guys. So if I have anything else later today, I will certainly make you aware of that. Or I'll give you a mini update on something. That's what we'll do. And I don't know. I'm actually still contemplating a call-in option for this show. I'm still going to, of course, on this stationary studio new setup, I'm going to be back, on screen, but it might give you guys an option if you just want to, just be able to call in. All right, guys, we'll have a great rest of your Saturday, and I will check in with you later. Bye for now.